All right, welcome on in to another episode of Fancast Friday, as it says right there. Today, we are doing a topic of your choosing, as we do every week. And on today's edition, you guys voted for it. We are finally doing it. It's time to talk about Power Girl. We don't know when Power Girl will enter into the new DCU, but given James Gunn likes to have different versions of realities and stuff, maybe we'll get to see an alternate timeline where instead of Supergirl, we have Power Girl. And so I think it's pertinent that we talk about who could be the DCU Power Girl. To do that with me and so much more, I've got John. How are you doing today, John?
I'm doing good. I like Power Girl as a character. I'm not just talking about like the obvious thing. Like she's genuinely a very interesting character. Pretty much the better version of her mainline counterpart right here. So I'm excited to talk about her and who could play that character in the DCU. Even though that's not going to happen anytime soon, if ever. So.
Okay. All right. Well, with that in mind, John, I think without further ado, to explain to you guys how the format works, we usually have 5 picks. We'll give you the pros and cons for each, reasons why we think it'd be a good pick and why maybe not so much. And then we'll give them a likelihood score, which is more to do with, well, will James Gunn and co. potentially actually cast this actor or actress in the role? And basically the likelihood meter has to do with how realistic of a pick this is. We're going from 1 to 10, with 1 being no chance in hell and 10 being lock it in. So with all of that for 5 picks, we'll then have 3 honorable mentions. And since we are doing the show live, like Tony's in the live chat right now, if you are watching live, you can drop your picks and comments in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, drop them in the comments down below. Because towards the end, we'll do a Q&A and we'll get your picks in and some of your other comments from throughout the week. And after that, of course, we'll go over the poll for Tier List Tuesday, which is, as it would be from Friday, just days away. So we'll talk about the next vote that the next poll you can take part in for Tier List Tuesday. But before we get that far ahead, John, we're doing a Fancast Friday for Pat DC's Power Girl. So let's talk about that. And as you know, the very first thing we have to do is talk about the poll that led us to this episode. Essentially, Power Girl and Wally West version of the Flash actually came in tied for number 1 with 38% apiece. So as I mentioned, the also curious DCU Daily Show earlier, we're doing Power Girl today because she's been in the poll for the last few weeks, lost out twice, and now has won, well, tied. But the Flash, Wally West Flash, we're going to actually talk about next week. So we already got next week's topic picked out because it was a tie here. So there won't be a new poll for Fancast Friday for next week. We'll go with Wally West Flash because clearly, equal demand between Power Girl and the Flash. And then Adam Driver came in a distant second, in the DCU as 21% of the vote, and the next Doctor Who after Billy Piper coming in with 4% of the vote. So I don't think that will be back in the poll in a couple of weeks' time. But John, Power Girl is where it's at, and with that, let's dive into it, shall we? So Power Girl, a definitive fan casting. You already see 3 of the picks right here in the thumbnail. But of those 5 picks, I think a good place to start would be Alice Eve. And John, walk us through the reasons why you think Alice Eve would be a good pick, maybe also not a good pick for a potential Power Girl in the DCU.
Yeah, I think obviously I feel like James Gunn has been very good with like the picturesque look of like certain comic book characters, and even if it's not, then they're usually pretty well casted. But usually it's kind of picturesque. Like even smaller characters like Jimmy Olsen look like ripped off the page of the character, and I feel like he's probably going to go with Power Girl similarly. And I feel like Alice Eve has the look of the character. Like if we see a picture of her, we can see a picture of her right there. She has that look, maybe longer hair, but usually she sports a shorter haircut. So I think it works. And she has played kind of sassy, sarcastic characters in the past. Like her big thing was, Star Trek Into Darkness. That was kind of more sarcastic and sassy. But in addition to many other roles she has played, she kind of is very, just kind of, and Power Girl is very much that like darker edged, sarcastic kind of character. And I feel like Alice Eve fits into that very well. Um, And I think she could nail it. She's a very good actress. So, even though she's, maybe a little bit older, but we'll get into that soon. But I think she can nail that character. And as I said, she appeared in Star Trek Into Darkness, so she isn't shy from big franchises. And a science fiction franchise, which is where the DCU seems to be going. It's very sci-fi heavy. So I think because of that, it'll go in that direction. But the thing is, there are some cons with Alice Eve. Her last like major notable film was Bombshells back in 2019. That was the one about like the whole Fox News like sexual harassment scandal. Margot Robbie, Nicole Kidman, they were in that as well. She was in that smaller role, but she was still in it, and that was like the last one that got notoriety. It got some Academy nominations, I think, and it didn't do well at the box office, but it got some notoriety. And she is 43, even though she looks, very good for her age. I think she, doesn't look 43. I think she's just like I feel like that could be like a tad too old for who they want. I think they would probably want someone who's a little bit older than Superman, way older than Supergirl, obviously, and would probably want someone as of right now, like maybe mid to late 30s, and maybe 43 is a little bit too old for them. But that's kind of pushing it. But here's the thing. But there's also the idea that Power Girl is a pretty niche character, a very small character, because people are like, oh, is she just like knockoff Supergirl? That's what many people kind of seem it to be. And who knows, but I think they would probably want a bigger name. Like, I feel like with Superman, you can kind of get away with a nobody, and they pretty much did. Same with Supergirl, pretty much a nobody. Yeah, she was in House of the Dragon and Sirens, but she was the only major thing she did before that was like a lot of Australian TV because she is an Australian actress. So, I think you could possibly make that work, but I feel like she's just too small for like a niche kind of character. And and the thing is, not being in a lot of movies, not maybe being a little bit too old, there's that. So yeah, that's just what I think in terms of Alice Eve. I think she's very good. I think she would have been better maybe like 5-10 years ago, but I still think she could achieve it, but she's, the cons are still notable enough. However, I would probably, I would probably give it I'd buy that for $1. I think the likelihood 6. I think it's still good. I think she has enough to be like, okay, we can make it work rather than the cons, but that's just me.
I agree with you. Sorry, I was just gonna say I agree with you. I think she could be a great pick. I personally don't think the age thing is a problem because I bet you they're gonna introduce her as an alternate version of a character, right? Like she's meant to be this alternate version of Supergirl. So I don't think she's gonna have it's not like the comics where she's gonna be the successor to like Millie Alcock's Supergirl. I think the likelihood is she comes in and makes a few appearances and for a limited period of time, whether it's a half a movie or she's probably not going to lead her own movie or TV show necessarily. So I think for me, yeah, well, this could work. Like Alice Eve could be a perfect pick for that. She could come in and play the role and not be somebody who's going to demand a huge paycheck, and she's not going to have a ton of. I mean, she's doing other work. She's in Belgravia right now, I think, which is a show on MGM Plus. So she's like a spinoff of the original. There's like a spinoff of like a whole franchise. And while she isn't necessarily, I think she's past the point where I think she was on that upward trajectory for a while, but unfortunately she's not necessarily an A-lister right now. So I think she'll be available and she could pull off the role. She's got the look for it, and obviously she's got the acting ability. So totally could work. But I do think the likelihood meter, like you said, John, 6 out of 10, it would be a good fit. Like she's above average, but yeah.
Well, she's above average in a lot of places, damn. But speaking of above average, obviously the next pick we have is Sydney Sweeney, probably the most fucking obvious pick that you have. Sydney Sweeney, bombshell blonde with a big bust. Obviously, she is going to be picked for Supergirl or for Power Girl. So, obviously, she is a little bit. She's around my age. I think she's like 27, 28, 29. I think she's that perfect age to really grow into the character, and she can nail someone who's maybe even a little bit older than Corin Sweat. So I think I think it she nails that like age. That I think being the same age as Superman can work, but she could also be like, oh, I'm also a little bit older. But the main thing is being older than Supergirl, because Power Girl
Hey, babe.
is an older, like slightly older, more mature, but darker version of Supergirl in a way. And I think Sydney Sweeney could definitely do that in terms of the age. But obviously she has the look of the character I mentioned. She's blonde, beautiful, bust. I get it. Like, I know it's the easy thing, but like, people want to see certain things about the character transition from page to adaptation. So there is that. And I think I think she would love to see that, and I think a lot of people would like to see that. And with that, I do genuinely believe she's a great actress. I think she has played a lot of different types of characters in a lot of different genres, and she's played a lot of
I think she's
complex
purposefully
characters.
trying not to get typecasted.
Yeah,
If you look
like
at
she
her
can do
project,
Anyone But You and Immaculate in the same fucking
yeah.
year, and like walk away from that pretty well. And then Euphoria, like a very like complex, like sort of like popular girl, but falling into that net of like a lot of fucked up shit. And then you also have Americana, which is kind of like a neo-western kind of thing. And she's also a producer, so she definitely has that going. Um,
We'll get to that, Anthony. We got
we
your
will
question
get into
right.
that, Anthony. I did see it. Don't worry, we'll answer that later. But I think that's definitely a lot, and I think she could nail a lot of different aspects of the character, and she's popular, so that also helps.
I
But there
like your
are some
choice of wording
cons.
there. Um,
Yes, there are some cons with the character. She has many projects in the pipeline. She has like a lot of producing
I
stuff
hit that
as
like,
well as a
guys.
lot of acting stuff. So she has like a lot going on with her career right now, and I don't know if she would want to. And I think she wants to steer clear from superhero stuff. I don't know. That's just the vibe I get from her. I think she's doing a lot of like
Well, she's already
smaller
done
stuff.
the Madam Web thing, so I don't.
Yeah, like and
That wasn't
after
necessarily
that,
the
I don't
best
think she wants to
choice.
really do
Yeah.
that sort of thing again. Because like, I mean, she was, and the thing is with that, she was very passionate
Mhm.
about that character and about that, even though God knows the writers and producers fucking weren't of that movie. But
With great
this is why we can have nice
responsibility will
things.
come great power. Is that
Whatever. It was when it comes to responsibility, great power will come, or something
Oh
fucking
god,
stupid
that's
like
even
that.
worse than what I remember. I mean, Sydney Sweeney is obviously second generation actress. She's been doing this for the longest time. So
Yeah. One of
she's
her
while
first
she
roles was in John Carpenter's final film of The Ward. So, I
you
didn't
know,
know that
she's
until
got a
many years ago.
longer resume and more experience than most people, most actresses, most people, most actors in general her age. So, and being a second generation actor helps. But still, hey, look, Nick Cage is a great actor and has done a lot of great work. I think Sydney Sweeney could. Well, I'm not saying she's the next Nick Cage, but I definitely think she's trying to get out of being typecast because obviously, after Euphoria and some of our other recent projects, uh, yeah, I think she clearly saw it. Much like Robert Pattinson, she's like, I need to go and diversify. And whether you like or hate the fact that she has great genes, I think she could be a great pick. One of the most obvious picks. That's why she's in the title and the thumbnail of the video. So easily, probably the most popular pick here. But John, what do you think is the likelihood score?
Well, and there you also have the cons of, you have the American ego and politics controversy, and you know, she's in the pop culture zeitgeist a little bit too much, kind of like Pedro Pascal, where she has been more popular than the movies and roles she's been in. She's like just kind of like, it's not like Sydney Sweeney actress, it's like Sydney Sweeney celebrity kind of thing. Like she's become more than, you know, her acting stuff, so that might be a put off. So, but with all that, I'm pretty sure the controversy is going to settle down, even if when they eventually cast Power Girl. So that's probably not going to even be an issue, and popularity can benefit your franchise. So I'm going to go with nice. I think Sydney Sweeney was probably the most likelihood out of all of these because she's very popular. She's known to be passionate about source material. Yeah, she has a lot of stuff, but that can dwindle over time. And when they eventually get to the character, I assume she's probably not going to have as many projects that she has right now. So, you know, I think.
And by the way, I think I misspoke. She's not a second generation actor. Her parents are not actors. I was thinking of somebody else. I was thinking of Dakota Johnson. Anyway. But yeah. Yeah, her agent should never have taken that Spider-Man project. God.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. But I think she is very likely for the role. But we have to move on to the next one. And the next one is, in fact, a previous Supergirl. So kind of what you were saying, Anthony, and we'll get into that now since it's very applicable here. That they're asking me, this is John's question, how about just transition Millie Alcock to Power Girl if maybe the plan is that Kara slowly transitions from Supergirl to Power Girl down the road? You said that was done in the comics. I don't think that was done in the comics, because like the whole like DC Rebirth thing, so you know, is like it's complicated. I don't think that's what happens. I could be wrong on that, and please tell me if I'm wrong. But personally, I think you know, but that kind of carries into this where it's like, hey, get an old Supergirl to play Power Girl. It works. So let's get rid of the, you know, that. Let's get rid of that. Anyway, so
Laura Van
obviously, as I said, she played a similar character in Smallville. So, you know, she was Supergirl. She played a slightly older character version of the character, and she played a darker version. She honestly acted more like Power Girl than Supergirl in the show from the little bit I've seen, because she was sort of more that like sassy, sarcastic, darker edged character. And so I think that like works for this iteration, because it kind of carries over very similarly. And then she's played some good roles in the past, not a ton. Obviously, she's very much a TV actress, so that might be not enough, but that carries into the cons. She is 40 years old, same with Alice Eve. Alice Eve has more clout and she's more of a well-known name than, you know, Canadian TV actress. So the age might actually matter here. And, you know, with that, she also hasn't been in a movie in 4 years. The last movie she made was in 2021. She's mainly a TV actress, and with that, she's just not well known enough. Like, would it be awesome as sort of a wink and a nod type of thing? But if you're like casting a character to have them featured majorly in the DCU, that you don't want to just do like a wink and a nod kind of character. You want to make sure she's also good
been
for the
directing
role. Yeah,
and she's been TV directing television episodes, which a lot of TV actors end up doing.
Tom Cavanaugh, Danielle Panabaker, Jesse L. Martin, they all directed episodes of The Flash, so, and other stuff too. But yeah, I think like she would be good ago, for the role, but like, you know, I think I don't think she's, you know, very likely. I think she's maybe kind of sort of maybe. Like, I could see it. Like, James Gunn is definitely a fan of all things comic book related, so I could see him being like, you know what, she's good enough. I could see her in a role, and probably have her, but it's unlikely. I just thought she would be good because it's like the Supergirl she played is very similar to Power Girl, so I thought that kind of worked, and I think that would be a genuinely good casting choice, because from what I've seen of her, she's good. Like, she can act, so, you know, which is more than you can say for Alan Ritchson. So, you know.
Oh, come on, calm down, man. Get out of here. He can act. He can act. Anyway, let's get on to the next pick. We've got Anya
Yes.
Taylor-Joy, probably
Anya Taylor-Joy,
the
which is
highest
probably out of left
profile,
field.
maybe the best actress here in this
Probably,
field,
I would probably say
maybe.
so.
Well, we've
But
still got some names to go, but anyway.
but yeah, I think Anya Taylor-Joy, she's good at playing like very layered characters. I think
Mhm.
all of her characters are very complex, very like kind of out there, interesting, and have more to them than you would think. Like you have Queen's Gambit, you got The Northman, Peaky Blinders, Menu, and Emma. Like she's had a
She was great in
great
The Gorge,
resume.
yeah.
She was also in The Gorge this past year, which I have not watched yet, but I do plan on watching soon. Yes, I am aware I am bleeding. Just leave it alone. I popped a pimple. But anyway, but Anya Taylor-Joy, um, playing great lay characters, and she has played similar to Sydney Sweeney. She has played comic book characters in the past, although for the shit fucks down the street at Marvel, she played Magic in the New Mutants. And even though, from what I've heard, that the movie was not that great, she was great in it. And from a friend of mine who is a huge Magic fan, he said that she pretty much played that character perfectly, and Magic is kind of similar in line with Power Girl. Like she's kind of, into that, like, again, darker edged, kind of mature vibe that kind of Magic was in that movie. So, with that, I also think Anya Taylor-Joy, she's a name, but I don't think she's like A-list quality just yet. I'm not quality, A-list name. Like, I don't think like Anya Taylor-Joy, she's not like super popular that like, oh, she's gonna get all the movies, all the credits, all the things. She's getting there. I think she's getting there. But exactly. So we're gonna get into that, as you can see,
You can
with the
put on
cons.
muscle.
So but her last starring role film flopped with Furiosa, and that was a Warner Brothers movie, so that might be like, oh, this chick doesn't sell, so let's not have her in a major feature film again. And with that, she doesn't have the picturesque look of the character, because like Sydney Sweeney and Alice Eve, they are very like picturesque. Anya Taylor-Joy, she's very unconventionally attractive. Like she might not like seem like it to people, but she has, her eyes, her cheekbones, is very like not what is seen as conventionally attractive.
I mean, she
Like,
is beautiful. She is.
I think she is a very beautiful woman. It's just like I've seen people like, this is a very extreme thing I don't believe in, and also boom, Lex Luthor right there. No. It's just that like, oh, she looks like Sid the Sloth because of her eyes, and I'm like, that's mean. And like, but people can be saying that, and many people still say she is very, very attractive woman, but she's not the picturesque look, so she's unconventionally by societal standards, and people might not want that for Power Girl. So there is that. And with that, she has a lot on her plate, similar to Sydney Sweeney. She has Dune Part 3. She has Super Mario World. She has an upcoming major show on Apple TV Plus. She has Sacrifice. She has a lot going on.
Probably the sequel to Mario Brothers movie. Yeah.
Yes, Super
Although
Mario
a voice
World, yes.
acting gig is not that much of a big deal.
Yeah, of course not. But it's still a major film that is, needs to be stated. So she has a lot going on, but with a lot of, I think the cons to me, we'll be getting into that soon enough. But for me, I would say, well, yes, but actually no. I think there is a little bit of viability there in terms of her as the character. I think she can build muscle. She has a big rack, and I think that's fine. Like, it's whatever. But I think with her as the character, I think she could do a good job, but I don't think she's what people are looking for, and I don't think she's what like James Gunn and like the executives are looking for, for this character, if they do bring her in. So,
I mean, for me, the biggest reason why it wouldn't be because of any of those reasons. I don't think it's the physicality of the part of the role that's going to be the matter.
I'm just saying, like, that's the thing I thought.
I think she is. Yeah, but I mean, I think personally she's an A-lister. Not just personally. I think most people would say she is an A-lister, and I think she would demand too big of a paycheck, and also she's too big of a star to come in to play a role, which again I don't think is going to be someone that we will see very often in the DCU when we do, unless they go in a direction where it's kind of like, you know, Captain America passes the shield to Falcon and he becomes the next Captain America sort of a situation, or if Supergirl dies and we then have Power Girl kind of come in and replace take that role, and which is why I think like Sydney Sweeney and Anya Taylor-Joy I think are two names that are just too big for the role, like in terms of just it depends on like which
that might be
going.
good because she's a very niche character, and I feel like they would need to pump that up, you know.
Yeah, actually, by the way, Haley Atwell is a really good idea. We'll
I mean, she did go blonde for Cinderella and an undercover scene as Agent Carter, but I think she might be a little bit too old now.
Good point with the Dune thing as well.
Yeah,
but
that's
all right.
True.
So, John, we went through 4 of the names.
Anthony, speaking of Mark Wahlberg's girlfriend in Ted 2, Amanda Seyfried is our fine.
Tony just said it too.
Speaking
you guys
of,
are looking ahead.
Yeah, I think you know, I think Amanda Seyfried is a good choice. And
didn't she say she turned down the role of Captain Marvel? She was offered Captain Marvel.
No, she turned down Gamora.
Gamora, yes. Well, even bigger franchise in terms of the role. That she could have been playing, yeah.
And Amanda Seyfried, she's really good at playing balanced characters. I think she is good at playing like the shy kind of nerdy character, like Jennifer's Body and Ted 2 kind of thing, like book smart characters. But also she's played like out there, wild kind of characters like Lovelace and that kind of thing. So I think you know, I think she's played it similar to Sydney Sweeney. She's played a good range of characters in a good range of roles, and she has the look. She's got blonde hair, big bust. She's like kind of picturesque look that I think a lot of people are looking for, and she's worked with like legends like David Fincher and David Lynch. So clearly, if they see something in her, then I think, you know, someone like James Gunn could see something in her, because Mank, while not the best movie, she was very good in it, and she was also in Twin Peaks: The Return, so that works as well. But there are cons. She just isn't as popular as she once was. Like, I mean, you know, she was in Mean Girls, and, you know, she was in the Ted movie, she was in this, she was in that, and but I think Amanda Seyfried, in terms of popularity, quote unquote, has kind of passed her prime. She was really big in the mid to late 2000s. And then 2010s, it kind of downturned, and now she's like, oh yeah, I remember that actress in Mean Girls, but like she isn't like popular enough anymore to really carry a movie if they gave Power Girl a movie. And on top of that, most of her shit flops. Like whether she's leading, whether she's not, like Jennifer's Body flopped majorly, Lovelace flopped. Like so many of her films have flopped or have just not been good, or both. So that's yeah, on me.
I mean, but those are all prestige pictures. Like they're not meant to be big popular movies like Mamma Mia, Ted. I think those are the franchises. And again, I think this is all kind of plays directly into, for me at least, the pros of her being able to play this role, because again, you're getting an actress who's gonna be a known name, and then also she's not the biggest name out there today, but she's somebody who's well known enough. She's got the acting chops. She's clearly expressed interest in potentially being part of the superhero genre, and I think she would be perfect to kind of come in and play the role for a movie or two. I doubt Power Girl is gonna get a starring role. Supergirl is the cast of Emilia Alcock, so actress who's so young, because they want to, you know, go on with her for probably a decade and plus, you know, 2 decades maybe. So I don't think Amanda Seyfried is going to be somebody that would be, you know, out of the left field. I think she could be a perfect fit. You bring in somebody, like you said, she's not at the peak of her prime. She doesn't do a lot of these big movies, but this could be a role where she could raise the profile of it, and she's one of the best actresses on the list alongside Anya Taylor-Joy. And Alice Eve and Amanda Seyfried, for me, I think for both the same reasons, could be perfect for this. This would be great.
Although it's ironic because you say that, but I think no chance in hell. I don't think she would ever be considered. I don't think she would ever be likely. I think Alice Eve and Sydney Sweeney would be the most likely in terms of this list. It's just like she's not very popular. I don't think they would look at her. And the thing is, if they do ever get a Power Girl movie off the ground, I think she would be way past her prime and not even considered. So, that's just my. But if obviously differing opinions, that's okay. But that's just my opinion. I think
it's all good. It's all. By the way, did we give Anya Taylor-Joy a score? Did we miss that? It was. I think we gave her a score.
It was kind of sort of maybe.
Maybe. All right. So that was Anya Taylor-Joy's score, and then for Amanda Seyfried.
Or no, it was yes, but actually no, that was in Anya Taylor-Joy. She was at a 3.
Anya Taylor-Joy was a 3. Amanda Seyfried was a 1. Like probably the least likely. Eric is here. Hey Eric. Yeah. So look, ultimately none of these are bad picks. But they're 5 really, really good options. I mean, if DC can land any of them, if James Gunn and Co can bring in any of them, I think they'd be great picks. Again, just to kind of go over the 5 main picks one more time, we are saving your questions and your ideas. We'll go through those in a bit. We have Alice Eve, then we have Sydney Sweeney, then we had Laura Vanderboot, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Amanda Seyfried. For me, I think based on where Power Girl might fit into the big picture, Amanda Seyfried and Alice Eve are probably the best picks in terms of realistic picks and also just where they are in their careers, what they represent in terms of just the financial commitment they would require, as well as their star power and the roles they've done in the past, and also the physique, the looks, and in terms of what they would be going for in the movie itself. But John, who are your favorite picks from these 5, or maybe the favorite pick for your
if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be Alice Eve. I think that she would be the best for me personally. Maybe she's a tad too old, but I think they can work with that because she still looks very good for her age. So fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
that does not look like a 43-year-old. Like, hello.
Although that photo is a few years old, but then nonetheless, no, she's
to be fair, it's fine. I think she's always been my favorite for the role for the past 10 years. I think she would be perfect.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? We also have honorable mentions every time we do this. So beyond our main 5 picks, John, you picked out 3 others that could potentially work.
Yes.
Infamously, Zack Snyder was once on that list for Justice League director.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. Anyway, so for me, the ones I picked were Brooke Entz, who played a lot of roles in the DCU. She played an Amazonian in Wonder Woman, and she also played, I think she was mainly an Amazonian. She might have played one of the gods in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm pretty sure she was mainly an Amazonian, and she definitely looks it, and Power Girl definitely has the Amazonian physique. Then I also have Olivia Taylor-Dudley. I don't know much about this character. I saw her in a fan cast. I'm like, she has the look. Definitely has the look.
I think she's also, is she a singer? Like, is she's, I think.
I'm like, I've seen her, she's in mainly, I think she was in, CW stuff or something. So, she could do that. And then, Helen Flanagan, she is essentially...
The Magicians. That's what she was in.
That's what it was. She is mainly a British soap opera star, but if they want someone completely unknown, I would say, yeah, go with that. But yeah,
I think Helen would actually also be a good pick in terms of just elevating somebody who's not going to demand a big paycheck, has the look and the acting ability, generally speaking. And I think, yeah, well, she's like Alice Eve, another Brit. So there you go. Those are all 3 good picks there, John. I think in terms of honorable mentions. By any chance, any of the Pretty Little Liars actresses still young enough to where they can play Power Girl? Actually,
I'm not familiar with that show, so I don't know.
Well, I think you have a couple of options there, Anthony. It would just depend on, again, what they're looking for. I don't remember the names of the actresses, but I think a number of them would still be a good fit. Speaking of, let's get into some of your questions from earlier. Anthony, with another question about maybe Millie Alcock could go from playing
I did talk about
Girl
that.
to Power Girl. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think that happened in the comics because that was one of their latter comments. So that could maybe work. I know that was done for Roy Westerman's Earth 27 series, where he essentially just made Supergirl into Power Girl, and that's definitely a way to go. I don't think they'll do that, but they could make that work.
Okay, we got Patrick suggesting Lucy Boynton.
Yes, I think she could do it. I mean, Lucy Boynton, and then Meg Donnelly was also the choice for Supergirl.
She auditioned for Supergirl. She was on. She was
Yes.
one of the 3 actresses supposedly left behind. Well, one of the short list.
Well,
I
she
should
played her in Legion of Superheroes, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then let's see. We already talked about Amanda Seyfried. She's one of our picks. Haley Atwell, we mentioned earlier. Do you think? I think Haley Atwell would be a great pick, quite frankly. And she's been in Marvel.
Maybe. I think
Probably
she's like
is
too
still
nice
active in
looking.
Avengers.
Like I think she's not. She doesn't have that grittiness. I think
She has that more
need.
like earnest look to her. I don't know. I think it's the sultry nature maybe of Power Girl that she wouldn't maybe match. Maybe is that what you're? I think that's
I
maybe
don't
what
know.
you're thinking of. Amelia Clarke for Power Girl. She
No.
plays Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones.
Wait.
Oh, all right.
Wait.
Are
What?
we thinking of the same?
Or the actress. I was gonna say like Amelia Clarke didn't play Sansa.
Emilia Clarke with the E. Emilia Clarke.
Amelia Clarke.
Good
No.
work.
No.
Maybe.
Definitely not Amelia. She's too small. And then Sophie Turner. No. No. No.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, those would be really off type. And again, I think again, Alice Eve is probably your best bet. And then I think for me personally, I think Amanda Seyfried. Oh no, Anya Taylor-Joy, you couldn't go wrong with either. Like I said, with most of these picks, you couldn't really go wrong. So those are some great picks there, guys. Let's see, we have got a few more in the chat. Christy can be an Amazon, same one as on Ted Lasso, Blonde Goddess. Who are we talking about? Ted Lasso. Who's Christy and Ted Lasso? Although, you know what? Speaking of Ted Lasso, I think Hannah Waddingham could be a great Power Girl.
Too old.
She's
way too old. She looks too old.
again,
she looks like
look,
she's 70.
No, she doesn't. Get out of here. But like, I know, I think she could do a great job. Again, it depends on what profile they're going for. I don't think they're gonna try to bring in somebody who's the same age as or like same age profile as Supergirl. So I mean, Brie Larson could work, but Brie Larson is definitely over at Marvel. So I don't think so. Minecraft stores here, yes. Just saying yes to everything, I guess. No, we forgot her name too.
Juno Temple. That's the only blonde chick
Juno
I know.
Temple. Oh, okay. Juno Temple. Maybe Juno Temple. She'd be like, she could do it if it was like the Boys kind of a show. Maybe. I don't know. Juno Temple could work. Hasn't she worked with James Gunn before in his Trauma days?
I don't know.
I think she was. I think she was in Slither or something. I forget.
No, I don't think so. Anyway,
Brian Tarth as Amazon, not Power Girl. Okay. Well, I mean, now you guys are getting into the whole, Wonder Woman thing. But as far as Power Girl goes, we made our picks, and well, those are the 5. You got Alice Eve, Sydney Sweeney, Laura Vanderwoot, Anya Taylor-Joy, Amanda Seyfried, and then the honorable mentions were Brooke Ench, Olivia Taylor-Dudley, and then Helen Flanagan. I mean, John, I think this is a very diverse field of options, and certainly a lot of good ones to pick from for James Gunn and company, depending on which direction they're going in and when they might want to bring in Power Girl. So, does she have to be blonde? I don't.
Yeah,
I guess that depends on how accurate you want to be with the comics. So that's probably where we'll leave that. But John, a reminder to the good folks: the result of the poll leading up to today's show is how we arrived at the Fancast Friday topic of Power Girl. But the topic was not alone. In fact, Power Girl was tied with Wally West's Flash. 38% of the vote, both of them got that. So that means today we did Power Girl. On next week's episode, we already have the Flash, the Wally West version of the Flash picked out. Maybe Ryan Reynolds will be on that list because he once
he won't.
Almost played Wally West. So, but I'm just saying, maybe the honorable mention list. Who knows? But that's the topic for next week for Fancast Friday, since you guys gave us a tie. So we just decided we'll do Power Girl this week and then Wally West next week. But with that, John, we also, of course, have to talk about Tier List Tuesday coming up in a few days' time. That vote is live now. The poll is up, and you guys can go and vote for that.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
There we go. Just wanted to see if.
I put it up literally a few hours ago. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, or if you're not watching on YouTube, get on YouTube, go into the community post section. Tier List Tuesdays, the next episode, this upcoming Tuesday, we picked out the options with you guys. MCU Phase 1 movies is on the list. because it's been on the list now for 3 weeks in a row. It's been the bridesmaid twice, never the bride, and maybe this time it can win. It's in the lead right now. Second is Spider-Man movie villains, which was a pick that you guys made. Spider-Man movie villains. We would do all the live action Spider-Man movie villains, coming in at third right now. And then Batman actors, another pick that you guys suggested, currently sitting in third with only 11% of the vote. No votes so far for the Lantern Corps, which would essentially be all the different color lanterns. We wouldn't do individual lanterns, but the different color lanterns. Yes, Wally West will be a good option, and that's what we're doing next week on Fancast Friday. But this Tuesday, you have a few days to vote on this. MCU Phase 1 movies currently leading the pile. Tony already voted and voted for Spider-Man movie villains. So that's there for you guys. You guys are welcome to go ahead and vote for that. I'm going to see if while we are live, I'm going to see if I can put this up in the live chat so you guys can go vote for that here. If you're watching after the fact, like I said, go onto the channel and go into the community post section, and you can find the poll there and vote for it. Tier List Tuesday in a few days' time. But John, before we wrap up, we do have some comments you pulled up from the good folks. So let's dive into those comments. We'll do a quick Q&A, and then
we forgot to do Q&A for DCU Daily, but we'll do it here. So these are the past
comments. That's a good
comments.
idea. Maybe we'll think about it.
We picked comments from the comment section, not the chat, but the comment section for what you guys are posting. Mm-hmm. But I went backwards, the most recent to the Monday ones. But the first one was Nelson Moreno, who I don't think is watching today, but we appreciate you. John, we appreciate your take on Jessica Cruz. There's potential with her character. I think so too. I love her character. I think I relate to her a lot. I think very personal, wonderful story for introverted people. So love to see it, and I love her character a lot. And I think she is perfect for a lot of characters that for you know, a lot of people for that character, you know. So I think you sold me on the story of Jessica Cruz when you talked about her just so passionately, and I would love to see her character in live action. We know we're getting her in the animated My Adventures with Green Lantern show, so I would love to see her in live action too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then you know, and then the main man talking about Matt Reeves. Very
Lobo there. The last Zarnian.
Well, I mean, this is the main man 2025, but he changed his username, so he hasn't been on the show, but he usually comes in after the fact because we're on a different time zone as he is. So, and he's like, "Look, I found the perfect emoji for Matt Reeves," and then he posted a turtle, and then you see it's funny because, and then he starts laughing because Matt Reeves is very slow with delivering the goods, but that's okay. Hopefully, it's great, and it won't matter in the end. But that wasn't the last thing he said about Matt Reeves. He said, "I picture Matt Reeves driving an '89 Ford Fiesta 50 miles per hour in the fast lane. I'm surprised James Gunn still has hair at this point. I would back burner Batman 2 and get Batman Brave and the Bold out ASAP."
Hold on,
of course.
Well, he did submit the script eventually. I mean, they are working on it now, so I'm like, it feels a little. Well, I'm not saying mean spirited necessarily, but here's the thing. I mean, we talked about it on the main show today that the Also Curious DCU Daily show, that Matt Reeves co-writer Mattson Tomlin, I think so. Anyway,
Mattson Tomlin. Very strange name, but you know, whatever.
You want to say the opposite, but anyway, great name. He said that, you know, this movie could be as good, if not better, than Batman Part 2. So I'm excited. We know that the new Clayface movie is already starting to film soon, and in Liverpool, it looks like by spring of next year we'll have the Batman Part 2 in production, and then the Super Family movie going into production next year too. So it's gonna be fun. We'll see how far we go with that. John, your picks are making more sense. Okay, you're talking about, of course, Fancast Friday. But let's keep on going, John. We got more comments.
But Stephen H said in regards to retconning the Justice Gang, no, it wasn't a misstep. Retconning the Justice League cameo with the Justice Gang was the best way to go. Supergirl being there is easily explainable too, to the point where it doesn't even really require an explanation. She could have just happened to be visiting Cal on Earth that day. He got the call and tagged along. Also, just because the Peacemaker Season 1 finale occurred in real time 3 years doesn't necessarily mean it happened in the story timeline 3 years ago. In the retcon, Superman being there suggested happened more recently, since he's only been out as Superman for 3 years. But the thing I was asking, I'm like, okay, but does this take place in 2022? or does it take place in 2025? That's the thing I was asking. I think you can look at the Daily Planet papers to see when it's dated, and I'm pretty sure it says 2025. So I imagine that now the world of Peacemaker takes place in 2025 rather than 2022 like it was in the DCEU. So just to make things easier. That's what my headcanon is for now until Gunny Boy confirms it. Oh, look at hashtag believe the bulge. Hashtag believe in the bulge.
Oh, it's right there. There's the shot.
There it is.
Hard to deny.
We'll
Anyway.
zoom into this.
No, we're zooming out. All right, okay.
Anyway,
all right, cool.
But then we also have Kyle Kaiswetter. Red Hood is a must, but Lady Shiva could tie into a Batgirl story, which involves Ra's al Ghul and Catwoman. Yeah, we were kind of just talking about like discussing random characters and like Brave and the Bold and like that kind of thing. But yeah, this is definitely an interesting idea to have. I don't know if Red Hood is a must, considering, you know, he could be just dead. But I think we were talking about Bat family characters, but it depends how they want to utilize him. They might want to save him to bring in the Under the Red Hood story into live action. So whatever it is, I would prefer to keep him dead and then have him introduced on screen as Red Hood, as the more villainous Red Hood, and then he has to become the more anti-hero Red Hood. So I think that could be interesting.
Yeah.
But then we got the main man again. For the past 30 plus years, I've heard nothing but Frank Miller is the only Batman. He was cool then, but Frank Miller is old and hasn't made a good book in years. It's as if Frank Miller invented Batman to some people.
Well,
he did. Zack Snyder,
invent the most. Well, I'm just gonna say though, he did invent the most modern iteration. Like he made Batman like all black and brooding in a way that I think starting with the 1989 Batman movie, that's what Batman has been known as. Like that's not what Batman was before. Like it was. And Frank Miller kind of started that, but in a way, I mean, he sort of reinvented the wheel with Batman in that.
I would say Denny O'Neil did, but that's just my opinion. But I'm well over Frank Miller and edgy, gritty crap like Metallica. It's not cutting edge anymore. All right, you don't got to throw Metallica under the bus. I get it. They haven't had a good album since the 90s, but you don't got to throw them under the bus. I know people are still angry for Saint Anger. I get it, but like you don't got to throw Metallica under the bus. Anyway, then we go back to a Kyle Kaiswetter comment. Just got Peacemaker comics from the 80s series signed by Paul Kupperberg. He said, yeah, the show is very different. And then he said, thanks for the info on the other versions, because I was talking about other Peacemaker versions and who the character was in the comics. So, yeah.
Well, do you think we got like a lot of Peacemaker comparisons between the character? Because I feel like James Gunn is really taking the character in a different direction than what the comics
yeah
did,
it's
right?
like he doesn't even really resemble the comic book character anymore. It's like not even
that's
close.
the thing. I mean, even when we were doing the Power Girl fan casting just moments ago, I'm like, they could go in a different direction. Like they don't need to follow the comics per se. Like the engineer design looks really different from the comics. So yeah. Is that all the comments we had?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, we had a couple here in the chat.
We apologize for not getting to it last week, but we'll try to be better in the future because we want to show the love for the people that, you know, can't make it to the chat, which is fine. We love and appreciate all of you anyway. So we want to show our appreciation to the people who make it after the show and watch it. Be kind, rewind, watch it. And, you know, because, you know, you got jobs, you got lives. You can't just sit down and watch us for however long. So, you know,
it's cool. You can always watch us after we're live, you know, and then you can still hit the like button and get in the comments. And like you said, John, we'll address those at the end of every week on the Friday shows. I did want to say Battle Royale Phase 1 movies. Cool idea. Probably not going to have it in the poll for the next tier list. But Patrick was asking you, John, have you seen trauma movies like Sergeant Kabuki Man and Class of Nukem High? I don't know if you.
I have not. I know a lot about trauma, but I have not like seen a lot. The only two trauma movies I've seen are Toxic Avenger and the Toxic Avenger remake, and I've seen bits and pieces of other stuff, but not a lot.
Okay, cool.
I am aware of a lot of it.
Totally fair. And then Bane Will Break You was asking about the whole Peacemaker situation, but where was Crypto? Well, James Gunn actually on Threads responded to somebody asking that exact question, saying, look, they wouldn't trust Crypto to go help stop an alien invasion. There's no way Crypto was going to show up. So also, we don't want any kind of like alien butterflies to like mess up Crypto in any way. Not that they could, but so there's your answer to that question. James Gunn himself actually mentioned that. Patrick saying, I wonder if there would be another.
Big titties? Is that what you're saying?
No,
You don't gotta
earlier
say
they
that.
were referring to that, but that's no. I think John, do have a big heart. Patrick was saying, I wonder. Don't do that. I wonder if they will do another animated Super Pets
I got
movie. Or
that.
they'll
You
do a
know, you have
cartoon
to say
show.
that for the OnlyFans. That's what. It
Yeah,
is.
no, for the memberships, you know. But I don't think they're gonna do another Super Pets movie. That's nothing to do with
Probably
James
not.
Gunn's regime, and that movie didn't do
That
nearly
was
as well as it could
Dwayne
have.
Johnson's
So,
forcing
and
himself into the DC thing.
I maybe a cartoon show, maybe they sell it to somebody. I don't even think it's going to be something they do for HBO Max. Warner Brothers Animation has a very streamlined, focus right now with what they're trying to do, much like Warner Brothers Games. They want to focus on their big pillar IPs, and I think that's really what it's about. Metallica doesn't have to be cutting edge. They are legends. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Big beard. John has a big beard. Yes, he does. Absolutely. All right. Well,
and Weird Al has a big dictionary.
Cool. And all these Power Girl picks have big stuff too. Cool. And with that, I think we've come to the end of another week of programming. Fancast Friday, guys. Let us know what you think about it. This is our 4th episode, and then I'm sure we will be doing lots more of these. But it's
Wally
you
West
who
next week.
Allow us to keep doing these. Wally West next week. And one last reminder, John, if you are able to share the poll, it has been up for a few hours now. I will share the link that is.
Whoops, daisies.
The link is in the live chat, so you guys can click on it in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, you can go to the live chat replay, or just go to the community post section on YouTube, and you can find the poll there. Right now, I think if I go to a live tally, I think I have it here. Actually, John, some people have been voting on it while we've been live. So, Phase 1 movies now at 60%, Spider-Man movies with 30%, Batman actors dropping to 10%. No votes yet.
No, yeah, I did. Yeah, because Tony voted for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's at 10 votes instead of 9.
10 votes. But hey, you know what? We got a lot more than that to come, and we had a lot more votes for this week, which is how we got to Power Girl and Wally West for next week. So next week, when we do Wally West, we'll put up a new poll for the following Friday. Until then, Tier List Tuesday, guys. Go and vote for it. And we'll see you back on Monday with another round of shows. Liz is going to be back next week, and John and I will be as well. You might be even seeing us in different digs. We'll have to see. That's a preview of things to come. Until then, John, since it is another DC related Fancast Friday, why don't we end the things on another uplifting DCU daily intro / outro, as James Gunn would like to tell you, or even as maybe Power Girl would like to tell you. Hey, buddy, eyes up here. And don't forget to look up.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Fuck Jeff Snyder.